Being a YouTuber is hard. Sometimes having 3 people give you a bad comment make you feel bad all day. So let's have a look at some YouTubers destroyed by their fame by Turkey Tom.
YouTubers are just regular people, catapulted into fame and fortune by their fans who appreciate their personalities. Because
I would say that we're not regular people. We're a little bit weirder. We're a little bit more brain rot. We have a little bit more of a melted brain than the average person.
But what happens when the content creator accidentally makes himself popular with an audience of people they didn't intend to target? Or worse yet, what if they're not fit, mentally or otherwise, to have that audience? Today, we'll explore the complicated relationship.
Hey, don't put Dan TDM. You probably just Googled YouTubers and it came up with a list. I don't want Dan TDM on a list with these people.
Fame. Though nowadays he's known almost exclusively as Joji, before Japanese-Australian singer-songwriter George Miller made waves with his music, he was terrorizing the internet as his completely brand-unsafe alter ego, Filthy Frank.
Filthy Frank feels like a fever dream. It feels like something that didn't actually happen. When Filthy Frank and Max Mofo, back in the day, and iDubbbz were making videos, collabs together, making like human cakes, that feels like something that didn't actually happen, and it was a collective Mandela effect. It was a dream that we all experienced at the same time.
Beginning all the way back in 2011 with a simple and pretenseless upload titled Filthy Shit. To say that Frank had one of the most successful and influential runs as a content creator is downplaying it. While edginess has been around forever on the internet, Frank was—
Oh my god, just looking at my chat now, I just realized there's gonna be so many people that doesn't know who Filthy Frank is, and they only know Joji. In fact, some of you might not even know who Joji is. Joji is a music artist. Filthy Frank is the same person, but another version of them, another ego, another character that they played back in the day where they would make videos and posts on the internet, and they were, we'll say, not safe for work.
Primarily held responsible for helping it crystallize on YouTube. Many people described what he was doing as bringing the kind of humor popular on the B-board of 4chan to a YouTube audience. Basically, if you were there in 2016, when people were regularly joking about ending their whole shit, you had one guy to thank. In many ways, he walked so that others—
Yeah, he was essentially like the 4chan board, but YouTube videos
could run. His earlier content consisted of a lot of yelling, embarrassing himself in public, raps, and every kind of inappropriate ism known to man. His later content was all of those things, but with more production value. In a way, being repelling in every way possible was so typical for Frank that it really stood out whenever he made content that was remotely palatable for mainstream audiences. It might surprise some to discover that he originated the "Do the Harlem Shake" meme in 2013.
No, he made the Harlem Shake meme? Oh my god, there's gonna be people in this stream that don't know who or what the Harlem Shake is. Jesus Christ, it is a completely different generation now. I remember hating this meme because it went too far. And by too far, it just was overused so much. Every single mother was doing the Harlem Shake. Every school was doing the Harlem Shake. You know it's bad when not only does it make it onto Facebook, but when schools start making versions of this meme, you know it's dead. It's not only dead, it's buried. It was blown into the center of the earth. The earth was exploded, reformed again, dug up, and then shot again.
Regardless of how bad taste or indecent his humor got, every upload consistently racked up millions of views. So much that TV Filthy Frank, the channel that George operated for the brunt of his prime years, now boasts a total of over 1 billion views.
Nice.
As followers of the content piled on in astounding numbers, a lot of unwanted attention came along with it. Namely, people that were either too obtuse or too young to see the channel and the content for what it was, purely comedic. Partly because of this, it felt necessary for there to be a debrief and explanation in the channel's About section, which read, "Filthy Frank is the embodiment of everything a person should not be. He is anti-PC, anti-social, and anti-couth. He behaves and reacts excessively to everything, expressly to highlight the ridiculousness of racism, misogyny, legalism, injustice, ignorance, and other social blights."
Damn, Frank's kind of based.
He also sets an example to show how easy—
Wait, no, not Frank. Was that his name? Oh god, what's Joji's name? Oh no, his name is George. Okay, Joji's name is George. George is kind of based.
It is in the social media for any zany material to gain traction/followings by simply sharing unsavory opinions and joking about topics many find offensive. There's no denying that the show is terribly offensive, but this terrible offensiveness is a deliberate and unapologetic parody of the whole social media machine and a reflection of the human microcosm that social media is.
That was very well written. I'm sure the 3 people that read it were very impressed by that, considering no one has ever read a YouTube channel description in their lives.
Or maybe I'm just fucking retarded. Despite this disclaimer seemingly softening the blow, the content itself remained pretty rough around the edges well into the late 2010s. Honestly, it's surprising it
So really, Filthy Frank was, if we're to believe that this description on the YouTube channel, Filthy Frank is actually everything that George, the real person, dislikes.
As long as it did. Unlike many other instances where people dabble in offensive and sensitive topics and get
Oh, dude, Leafy. Leafy is literally a 13-year-old edgy memer from like 2014, but in 2013. Someone who literally never grew up, that never found it within themselves to look in a mirror and realize that what they were doing is actually very cringe and not what an adult should be doing. He is the definition of unable to grow or become a better person.
Get banned for it, Frank left the platform of his own accord, much to the dismay of the extremely loyal following he had built up. While it initially puzzled a few of the watchers who didn't see it coming, the seeds for the disbandment of the Filthy Frank identity had been sown a long time before the prospect of a professional music career was on George's horizon. In 2014, Frank released a now-deleted video to his old account, Disaster Music, called Filthy Frank Exposes Himself, where he appears as George, no character, and explains his reasons for why the content slowed down.
So I'm gonna be straight up with you guys. I have not been well the last couple months. Long story short, I was born with this, but I was recently diagnosed with a brain condition.
Oh my god.
Ironically, it gives me seizures. You know, this whole time we thought it was so funny doing these fake seizures, and now some call it bad luck, some call it karma, but ironically, boss. Hey boss, I have a seizure.
Besides juggling the show with his college assignments and even jobs, he reveals he'd also been struggling with a neurological problem that caused him to have stress-induced seizures. In the same video, he mentions that some of his viewers might get upset that he broke the fourth wall to inform them of his health concerns, once again signaling a potential divide between him and his fan base.
If there is a human being out there that is upset he broke the fourth wall, he broke character to be like, hey, I don't do this anymore because I literally get stress-induced seizures, then that person just needs to dig a hole and just lie in it and then fill the hole back up and think about what they've done. Truly think about what they are saying. How could you possibly get mad at that and be a normal human being? Those two things do not go together.
Years later, in an exchange he had on his personal Twitter account, George says, "So I act out some cringe shit, upload, bounce. Same old cycle for now. Admittedly, some are passion projects forced through the FF character." When asked by his fans if he loved what he did, he said, "It doesn't really matter. That's how the world is, hun. It's just a big ball of poop, and you will find out sooner or later."
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
Attitude about the content was a bit of a shock to the fans who cherished it. At this point, he was already laying the groundwork to bridge the Filthy Frank show and his interest in making music, mainly through Pink Guy's music projects, which were becoming bigger and more ambitious.
Yeah, when it comes to art that someone really likes, and I know it might be a stretch to call these videos art, but at the end of the day, it's something that people enjoyed a lot, is the people that make it and the people that consume it can have two completely different views on it. The people that make it can think, oh, this isn't very good. I shouldn't be in the position that I'm in. It's not great content. It's terrible. I shouldn't even be making this. But the people consume it that might be like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. It's the peak of content. It's the peak of comedy. There's a very big dichotomy between the two sometimes.
This transition also coincided with YouTube's first adpocalypse. And as you can imagine, it wasn't looking good for his channel, considering the caliber of content it was chock full of. Not only that, but the cultural climate was rapidly shifting from one that was okay with edgier content to one that saw it as the potential promotion of bigotry and prejudice, which again the channel was rife with, albeit in a comedic context. These tweets preceded the actual end of the show by a whole 2 years. It was only in 2018 that the cost of being Filthy Frank became too much to afford, given that the benefits were steadily declining and on their way to being non-existent. Along with a video officially declaring it to be over, George tweeted an explanation that read, "I believe an official statement as to why I'm now done with comedy is owed to my former fan base, of which I'm extremely grateful for. And while it genuinely pains me to express this, I do hope that the reasons below may provide some insight into my decision. Unfortunately, I no longer enjoy producing that content. Several serious health concerns, including but not limited to throat tissue damage and neurological conditions that I prefer not to get into. This decision is final. I really can't express just how grateful I am to all of you, nor will I ever forget the relationship that we had together. Moving forward, it is up to you whether you'd like to join or not. In any event, I will strive to continue creating and developing projects I'm passionate about and hope you'll succeed in doing the same."
That's the best way you can get out of it. He says, hey, hey, I really don't enjoy doing this anymore. I love the time that I had with it. I appreciate the people that supported me. I'm gonna do other stuff. If you wanna come with me, that'd be absolutely sick. But if you don't, I hope you have a great time. I don't think anyone could get mad at that. It's impossible to get mad at that. That is something that everyone can get together and be like, hey, I'm sad that you're not making those kind of videos anymore, but I wish you the best in the future. And the people that enjoy the music content that he went on to make when he was Joji are gonna be excited because they get to enjoy music content. And there's so many people that found Joji through the music that have no idea that he was Filthy Frank. It's crazy.
In another post, he said, "At the end of the day, I'd like you to know that I'm truly sorry for disappointing you. I do want to clarify that tending to severe health issues does not equate to abandonment. Please do not internalize the repercussions of my health issues. I'm not following dreams here. I am following neurologist's order. This is about livelihood. I only want to live a long, happy, and healthy life, and I pray that each of you are able to do the same." Despite how career-endingly controversial his run as Filthy Frank was, George managed to launch his music career into the stratosphere with ease. Partly this was because of how clean-cut his departure from the Filthy Frank brand was, but also because a substantial amount of Frank fans already wanted him to focus on the Joji projects, even if they came at the behest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. He had a lot of fans that really wanted to see him succeed. Also, he did make it very clear when he was making the Filthy Frank stuff that this is bad, and he thinks it's bad, and it's like the opposite of what a person should really be like. So even when he was creating the content, it was through the lens of, don't be like this.
Of the end of Frank. Since his shift into exclusively working on music, he's published 3 studio albums and accrued over 1 billion views on YouTube. A pretty impressive feat, if I may say so myself. But despite how well received Joji was by his original fan base, some newcomers who were just stumbling into his music for the first time were shocked to find out what George was up to before becoming a musician. In particular, the K-pop stan communities on Twitter were mortified upon discovering the existence of Filthy Frank.
No, I don't believe that anyone that tweets hashtag #NameIsOverParty is actually being genuine. I think that's a meme. There's no way that's actually real.
We begat the 2020 hashtag Joji is over party. Unbeknownst to them,
nah, it's not a real thing.
Who followed George's music releases knew about Frank and were Frank fans before they were Joji fans. This fact didn't stop the K-pop stans from wigging out and acting as if uncovering his problematic past would result in his downfall. Of course, that's not what happened. In fact,
I think this is really dumb. I think that as long as you acknowledge that something that you did in the past probably wasn't that great, and then you cut yourself from it, and then you move on, you don't do it anymore, and you're clearly a better person, then you should just be allowed to grow and be a better person. What is the point in this world of trying to become a better person if no one accepts you or no one acknowledges when you try to make change and be better? You have to give people an opportunity to learn from mistakes and become better in the future. If someone is still doing the same bad things that they were doing back in the day, they don't seem sorry for it and they don't want to acknowledge that what they did was bad until they get like caught or something like that, then that's the problem. But if someone did something 10 years ago, they don't do it anymore, and they clearly have learned and moved on, and you go back and you get that thing from 10 years ago and you said, they did this bad thing from 10 years ago, even though now they don't do it anymore and they know that it's a bad thing and they're trying to move on and become a better person. If you're trying to go after someone like that, then you're just in the wrong. You're just trying to drama farm on Twitter for interactions just because you love a little bit of drama. You're a drama fiend and you want those numbers, those likes to go up. And you just want to cause a little controversy. You just want to be the main character for a day. That's completely dumb.
Nobody cared about their takes as usual, but an attempt was made. Fortunately for him, this campaign failed in such a humiliating fashion that it became a meme, which later discouraged people from trying at all. Ultimately, this worked out in George's favor. It's also worth noting that in recent months, YouTube themselves have begun removing some of his more offensive uploads, such as the Cake Trilogy, which are now only available through fan re-uploads on YouTube.
Oh man, but those cake videos were something else. I remember when those cake videos came out. It was an experience. I still remember a scene of iDubbbz, Maximofo, and Filthy Frank in the back garden with a table in front of them just vomiting all over the place. You don't need to see these videos. There is definitely worse stuff on the internet, you know, like 2 Girls, 1 Cup, but when it goes in terms of YouTube, that's the most disgusting you can get, I think.
While it has been widely speculated that George resents his fame as Filthy Frank, or has tried to part ways with it entirely due to fear of being canceled, there have been multiple instances of him referencing his old persona in jest at concerts, usually promoted by an audience member in a pink guy costume, or when the crowd begins chanting Filthy Frank, to which he replies by saying they're people of culture.
Yo. I see y'all are people of culture, let's go.
Yeah, it looks like he's got the best of all the worlds, really. He's got the old fan base that he's like, he still kind of references. He's like, well, I'm not that person anymore, but like, I see you used to enjoy that kind of content. That's fine. And then all the current fans are just like, oh, you know, he's just paying respects to old fans. There's no real drawback to that.
The fact that he stayed friends with Max Mofo and Chad, anything for views, after transitioning into his music career as Joji, and it seems clear that on some level, George has made peace with it and embraced the fact that, for many of his fans, he is and will always be Filthy Frank, and there's nothing embarrassing about that. Despite the internet's infamous penchant for anonymity, most content creators, even the ones that start anonymously, eventually cave into the pressure and sacrifice their privacy to either satisfy a demanding audience or attract one.
Hey, not if your dream. The first YouTuber ever to do an unface reveal. This stuff is mad.
Widespread success online is difficult if you aren't willing to allow the public to peer into your personal life and develop a parasocial relationship with you. However, if you can balance giving the viewers just enough of you so that they crave more, but not so much that they're either sick of you or constantly violate your privacy so you get sick of them, you can capture people's imagination in a very specific way. For a while, this sweet spot was hit by Corpse Husband. Known for his deep, distinctive voice and enthralling storytelling, this enigmatic
Corpse Husband's story is a really interesting one, where he started as a creepypasta content creator. He had a very unique voice because I think he had a disease that, messes with his throat. Then he blew up during Among Us, and now he's a music person, then just dropped off the face of the internet. It's a very strange story.
Has risen to stardom without ever revealing his true identity. With a massive following on YouTube and Twitter, Corpse Husband's horror story narrations initially enthralled audiences and captivated a dedicated fan base. The qualities of his content aside, one of the most effective elements of his persona was the aura of mystery surrounding him due to his unwavering commitment to complete anonymity, deliberately shrouding his
And that is completely fair. I think there's nothing wrong with being an anonymous person. I think it's, you can do YouTube like you clock into a 9-to-5 job. You come in, you make a video, you upload it, and then you go. You disappear, you go and do whatever you want. You want to be able to go outside and not be harassed by people, even though you make a lot of really interesting content. I think you should be able to do that, and that's fine. If that's what you choose. People that choose to put their face out there on the internet do so knowing that when they put their face out there, people will know what they look like. So when they go out in the real world, people might see them and be like, oh, that's that person. People that choose not to should have the ability to not have their face be out there.
face and personal details.
I was setting up to do a little bit of gaming when I noticed I had an alert from one of my net friends saying they had stumbled across something interesting. A series of black boxes that, when opened, seemed to lead you down another web directory.
That's the Silk Road. Isn't that the dark web version of, like, the drugs marketplace? Oh, it's a creepypasta reading. Right, of course.
It was like tunneling, but more vast.
This decision has undoubtedly added to his allure, igniting curiosity and fascination among his fans. By keeping his identity out of reach instead of plastering it all over every video of his, as the average YouTuber tends to do, Corpse Husband dangled the enigma of who he was and how he looked in front of the viewer's face. While his unique voice and the stories he told were more than sufficient to captivate the watchers, Corpse Husband himself became the focus of attention over time. This is a bit of a backfire, since part of the reason for the concern with anonymity was that it allowed people to pay attention to the stories and judge the content on its merit, instead of developing a cult of personality and fandom. His popularity was kicked into high gear as he slowly but surely transitioned into the music industry. In 2016, he was featured in a Living Tombstone song called Grim Grinning Ghost, which currently sits at almost 5 million views. While this proved that Corpse had a reason to believe this endeavor was promising, it was only a fraction of the success that he went on to achieve through music. In 2020, he dropped the hit single White Tea, which has over
26 million! Damn!
26 million views. While this is already extremely impressive at face value for someone in such an unorthodox starting position,
55! Oh my god, he absolutely dominated. Well, this was 2 years ago. This was height of Among Us. This was when he was playing Among Us with all the biggest Twitch and YouTube streamers. You got your Valkyries, you got your Saikunos, you got that whole friend group that he's playing Among Us with, and that's kind of blown up. He's got Disguised Toast uploading all these videos. You got all these people playing together, cross collaborations that are just bringing more and more and more eyes on his content, and then boom, he drops what is actually, a good song. People like it, and then it's just a recipe for blowing up.
To become a recording artist, Corpse went on to surpass it a few months later when he dropped E-Girls Are Ruining My Life, which more than doubled the number of views of his first single, with
That's
over
a funny
55
name.
million views. Within a year, he was featured on a song with an established artist, Machine Gun Kelly, which garnered over 28 million views. It seemed everywhere he showed up, the numbers just piled on relentlessly. But as you can imagine, attracting a lot of attention online goes both ways, and with all the positive feedback came many hardships, both in his personal life behind the scenes and online.
The fan art is interesting because no one actually knows what he looks like. So how do you know if that's what he looks like? You just have to make it up. You have to fill in the blanks yourself, and that's part of the mystery. That's part of what makes people so attracted to people that don't have faces online. because you can just fill in the blanks yourself. So this person can be the perfect version of what you imagine them to be, rather than the flawed version of what they might be.
Often, when you seek to not draw attention to yourself, you accidentally attract even more attention, which was very much the case with Corpse
This is
Husband.
anime character? Wait, is this his official character? That's his?
One of the reasons for people's infatuation with his identity, particularly his appearance, was his voice.
Before I start the video, I just wanted to give a quick thank you to Felix, aka PewDiePie. The recent growth on my channel.
Okay, sorry. You can't see the graph there. Yeah, that's a pretty good graph. It's looking like it's trending in the right direction, guys. 90-degree angle ass looking graph.
General and everything else was initially caused by him being kind and welcoming enough to allow me on his channel, which I'm incredibly grateful for.
Damn, I mean, look at this Among Us lobby. This is insane. PewDiePie, Disguised Toast, Corpse Husband, Jack Spadicy, Valkyrie, Saikudo, Pokimane, James Charles. What?
He's done things to help me that he definitely didn't have to do, and even behind the scenes has just been super nice.
Some people thought he was faking it or using a voice changer, others speculated that his face wouldn't match his voice. Honestly, there were a lot of e-girls who idealized him as some handsome anime stud, and consequently, a lot of dudes who were rooting for the day their fanfic fantasies got crushed, and Corpse was revealed to be an extremely unattractive dude. Neither of these expectations would be met in reality. Whether because they liked him obsessively or hated him blindly, people became fixated on Corpse and tried to pry personal information out of him in any way they could.
That's gotta be really stressful when people are so obsessed with you for really no reason of your own. You're just out there trying to play Among Us with your friends, make some funny creepy pastas, maybe do a little bit of music of no reason of your own. These people are out there either completely in love or completely blindly hating you, and you're like, oh god, what do I do? So the appropriate response, the normal human being response is, well, I just got to separate myself from the situation and take yourself off of social media.
One stalker is already bad news. Imagine being gang stalked by however many thousands of people were scouring through his online presence to find one moment where he slipped up and revealed something about himself. As far as stalking goes, he'd already dealt with a serious incident in real life. Back in 2016, someone knocked on his house's door and claimed to be from a gas company. His mom was the one who opened the door, and since she had no reason to doubt this person's claims, she let them in. Only later, when they called the gas company, they discovered they had no involvement in that visit. In the following days, there were multiple
that's horrifying. Okay, so his actual real life turned into a creepypasta.
Where cars parked outside the house that sped off when someone left the house to check, and even one instance of someone trying to kick in the door. Mind you, this was years.
That is terrifying. It's at that point where you get security for your house. You get all the cameras set up, you get the auto turret set up, you probably get a little bit of a minigun placed in the window so you have a nice vantage point over the garden. You can, you know, okay, maybe the turrets are a bit far, but at least get cameras, yeah.
Before the astronomical degrees of online fame he would accumulate, so imagine how much worse it could be in present day. As his audience grew, having an online presence became a lot more costly and stressful, and impossible to engage with in a healthy way. Sure, he was looking for it in a way, but he couldn't have known that's how it would pan out. But that
okay, anyone who opens a YouTube channel obviously wants to accumulate subscribers and gain attention and notoriety, but they don't want people to come to their house. That's a crazy thing to say. There is a very big difference and a very obvious difference between I want people to watch my videos and hopefully like me as a person, and I want them to come to my house and stalk me. You can't just say, oh, but that's what comes with the job. If you're a YouTuber, then of course people are gonna come to your house and try and knock down your door. That's what being a YouTuber is all about. Dumbest thing. Obviously, Turkey Tom's not saying that. Turkey Tom's not insinuating that it just comes with the job, but some people do. Some people on Twitter do, and it just absolutely blows my mind. As if it's just a normal thing. As if, oh, well, actually, you should just get used to it. No, it's dumb. You don't get used to it. You shouldn't encourage stuff like that. You shouldn't even let it be normalized.
That was far from Corpse's only struggle. Corpse was already battling multiple physical ailments, namely fibromyalgia, a condition that causes a plethora of issues such as generalized pains, sleep issues, and fatigue. He also had thoracic outlet syndrome, which is when your rib cage is compressing the nerves on your chest, as well as sleep apnea, chronic insomnia,
oh my God,
an eye condition that caused him to have to wear an eye patch, and last but not least, he had GERD, gastroesophageal reflux disease, meaning stomach
Jesus Christ, he's collecting every single disease you can get.
acid kept flowing back into his esophagus and constantly irritating it, which caused
Stomach acid, very strong acid. If that gets in any other part of your body apart from the stomach is very strong. If that gets into any other part, it's GG's. That's why if you have a blow in the stomach, like a blade, if you get stabbed or shot in the stomach, your stomach acid starts pouring out, like, it's not looking good for you, buddy. You're gonna need some serious medical attention immediately. That's really, really bad.
Caused his voice to be as deep as it was.
Years ago, I thought it was fibromyalgia, but at the time, doctors weren't believing me because I was 19, in shape, seemingly okay. But then the problem started getting worse, and it started with my eyesight. I wasn't able to read stories because my eyesight was going. Whenever I would get checked for a prescription, they would tell me I have 20/20, but then I wouldn't be able to see when I'm reading.
These problems were
What? That's so odd. I wonder what kind of eye issue would lead to that. I mean, they said, obviously, I'm an idiot. They already said what it was. But it's so strange that you could go to an optician and be like, yeah, you have great vision. You have perfect vision. And then you don't have perfect vision. That's so odd. Maybe it only happens sometimes? I'm not sure.
compounded by the mental illnesses he developed due to his online presence, such as imposter syndrome and anxiety. Overall, the stress of being Corpse was already getting to be a bit much for him. In his song, Agoraphobia, he mentions he fears going outside because he fears people will find him. Recognizing how taxing maintaining all of his online projects was to him,
Yeah, he has such an easily spottable voice. If he were to start talking out in the wilderness, out amongst the humans, someone would clock on, they'd point and be like, hang about, are you Corpse husband? And what do you do at that point? Do you say no? I mean, someone's gonna find out eventually. Then what if they do? What if they start whipping out their phones? What if they take a picture? What if they say, oh, Corpse husband, can we take a picture with you? In that situation, you get put on the spot, super anxious. Do you just say yes? Do you just try and run away? Like, what do you do? God, that must be horrible.
Corpse slowed down posting content on his horror channel, which was hitting record numbers through his Among Us videos, so that he could focus more on his music. In February 2021, Corpse revealed that the stress from doing the Among Us streams took such a toll on his mental health that he cut his face with a razor blade 10 minutes before starting a stream to deal with his anxiety because of his insecurity about his appearance. When asked about a potential face reveal, he said, realistically it will happen, inevitably against my will, but a lot of people think it's a business thing or a gimmick. I just deeply fucking hate my face, and people's expectations at this point are ridiculous and unachievable.
When I started YouTube, I didn't do a face reveal until I think about 2015. So I had a YouTube channel for 4 years before I revealed my face, and I didn't do it because I hated my face as well. I didn't like how I looked. I thought I was, under average in terms of looks, and I was really anxious. I have incredible anxiety about that, even still to this day. So I didn't do it. And when I did it, eventually it was because I was going on a trip to America, and I felt like I had to because I was going to go to PAX, and I wanted people to, at least know who I was, at least my friends, and, some people that might want to come and, say hello or something like that. So it was kind of not really against my will, but I felt like I had to at the time. But yeah, it's scary. Putting your face out there on the internet, especially when people watch you and will judge you, definitely a tough thing to do.
Naturally, this was cause for concern for the fans who genuinely cared about his well-being and went out of their way to show him some support. For the better part of a year, his uploading was very infrequent on both channels, which worked towards achieving his goal of taking a step away from the limelight, though only to a limited extent, since whenever he did put something up, it soared to millions of views almost instantly. Unfortunately, obsessive fans and haters alike don't forget at target, nor do they give up easily, and while he tried to hang back and heal, they worked in silence, culminating in September of 2021 with his alleged face reveal. Apparently, people found a picture of Corpse from when he must have been a teenager by figuring out his grandmother's Facebook account. As he expected, Twitter users in droves complained about his appearance not meeting their standards. Don't you hate it when real-life people don't look like the anime characters you imagine them to be? Meanwhile,
Man, these people are the worst. Who is doing that? Who is looking for people's Facebook accounts or grandma's Facebook accounts? Who's trying to dox people like that? Why do you spend your time doing that? You could do anything. You could go for a walk. You could find some dogs. You could help the elderly. You could go out and do something productive. But you choose to sit and scour the internet for people's family members so that you can force them out. What in that moment do you think that you're doing? Is it just curiosity? Why do you have to put it out there? What's wrong with you as a human being? You are not a human being, you're a slug. You're a slug, a pile of slop on the ground that is too fat to fit down the drain.
While others brought up the possibility that the face reveal might not even be Corpse at all, and just some random emo-looking teenager that was now being mocked by the entire internet. Corpse never...
Of course they're all tweets. You notice how in these situations, it's all tweets that get shown? It's not like a Facebook message. It's not anything else. It's not even like a YouTube comment. It's always a tweet. I wonder why that is. What is it about Twitter.com that makes everyone so horrifically disgusting? It's becoming worse. Every time I go on Twitter, it just feeds you things to make you angry. It feeds you things that just people get upset about all the time. It's just arguments and hate all the time. Everywhere.
Never commented on the situation itself, and it's dubious whether the person in the picture is him or not. To make matters worse, the reveal was promptly followed by another dox, this time not only of what he looks like, even if from a distance, but of where he lives, what gym he attends, and his full name. Again, no comment was made on these leaks either, and to this day, very little is known about Corpse besides what he decides to share with his audience voluntarily. One thing is for sure.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck it. They don't deserve it. No one deserves his content anymore. You know, just stay off. If you want to stay off the internet, that's fine. Just stay off the internet. People don't deserve anything. People deserve nothing.
With this horrific track record, he has all the motivation to continue to fly under the radar, since some people are downright repulsive when it comes to respecting the privacy of others. Sky does Minecraft, also known as Adam Dal.
Oh no! Oh wait, okay, they're gonna have a little bit of whiplash. This is a completely different situation to the Corpse situation. We're going all the way to the other end now.
Was one of the original Minecraft Let's players from the early 2010s. Because of how entertaining and energetic his gameplays were, there was a point in time when he held a position next to other gaming giants from the early 2010s. At one point in time, he was even the single most subscribed Minecraft channel with over 12 million, behind only PewDiePie. His Butter series, where he notoriously referred to gold as butter in the game, spawned a catchphrase that became synonymous with his brand and fan base. The only issue with that is, given how wide-ranging his audience was, especially among younger viewers, inside jokes quickly go from funny and community-oriented to annoying and forced on outsiders. To put it bluntly,
oh my god, yes, this happens all the time. I swear to God, there's not a day that goes by that with someone else's YouTuber inside joke won't get spammed in a comment section or in a stream chat. Like, get it? Okay, it's fine. It's fine to enjoy something. It's fine to be a part of a community. But let's have a little bit of self-awareness, please. Not everyone understands your inside joke. Not everyone gets it. So just going into a comment section, that's usually kids, and I understand this. And kids just want to feel like they're part of a community. They want to feel like they're making a funny joke. And if a YouTuber makes a joke and they look up to that YouTuber, they're gonna make the exact same joke and they're gonna spam it everywhere. But oh god, we should just take away children's abilities to comment on things. Maybe they still want to watch the content, but don't give them the ability to post a comment. If you are under the age of 15, you don't get to post comments online anywhere. You can look at the content. Okay, you can like watch Minecraft videos, but you don't get to post.
The kids in his audience took the butter thing, along with his hatred for squids in Minecraft, and turned it into a dogma they proselytized everywhere they went. Mainly, this meant Minecraft servers getting griefed en masse by players leaving behind signs that declared war on squids or labeled gold as butter, as well as spamming every chat until they got banned or muted. The unintended consequence of
God, I feel like I've went through the exact same thing so many times. There's so many different inside jokes from so many other YouTubers' channels where people they'll just spam the same thing over and over again. When anything ever pops up that is related to a YouTuber, there are some kids that'll be like, "Oh, now's my opportunity to copy and paste the same message over and over again. Let's go, boys!"
of the misled fans who did this was that people associated the actions of the fan base with Sky himself, and preemptively disliked him because of that. At this point, being a famous online gamer was still in its early stages as a concept, so this situation served as a case study of what can happen when a fandom grows too enthusiastic. Surprisingly, he managed to deal with it well for half a decade. Not only did his conventional Minecraft content flourish, but he successfully branched out into other endeavors, such as music. Even if it was still centered around Minecraft, 89 million views is nothing to sneeze at, especially considering how much of a cultural staple of nostalgia these kinds of songs eventually became to those who grew up watching the YouTubers from this era. Right around the same time as online popularity was peaking, his personal life was also reaching its zenith, as in 2015, he married his girlfriend Alessa, with whom he had a child, Mason. Initially, this marked a change for the better in his life, as they decided to no longer curse on the videos so that kids, including their son, could watch them. It was an endearing arc, from being a silly gamer to a family man, and the fans appreciated the parts of their life he chose to share with them. However, this period of grace didn't last very long. Within the next 2 years,
it's the high before the fall.
Went from delighted in how wholesome his story was to closely watching Sky and Alessa's relationship fall apart, supposedly after multiple instances of her cheating on him. At least that's how the story was told.
Sky Does Minecraft, a YouTuber with over 11 million subscribers, went fucking off on Twitter last night because his fiance, the mother to his kid, had been cheating on him. It all started with Sky quoting one of her tweets which said, "I wish I never met you, and I wish everyone knew what a horrible person you are behind your mask you fucking enjoy wearing so much."
Oh my god, Christ, that's a crazy thing to say to your wife publicly on Twitter.
Followed this up with, "In before the, oh my god, don't make it public. You made it public when you started fucking around with so many of my fucking public YouTube friends. Garbage. Like,
Yeah, I mean, listen, if you're cheating on someone, then that's it. GG's, the end of the relationship. I'm one of those people that thinks cheating is like it's a deal breaker. There are some people that can maybe come back from it, and I understand there are some relationships where one person cheats, they feel really bad, they come back, they admit it to the person, the relationship is rocky, but you know, you can go to therapy, you can make it better, and maybe you stay together for 20 years, 30 years after that, and you never do it again. Maybe I'm too insecure. I couldn't get out of my head that if you do it once, then you can do it again. And the same thing goes for someone that cheats on their spouse to be with you. If you're in a situation where someone is cheating on their spouse because they want to be with you, then just keep that in mind, that they're willing to do it once and they're willing to do it again. I know that that's not 100% going to happen. I know that it may not even be a case 100% in any one situation, but I couldn't get that out of my mind if that was the case. But maybe I'm just insecure, I don't know.
seriously, how fucking many people was enough, woman? You'd think being able to count it on one hand would be enough.
Jesus Christ, you think you'd be able to get out of one hand would be enough? Oh my god, that's mad.
Going through a breakup is bad. Going through a divorce that involves a child is infinitely worse. But doing it all in front of an audience of possibly millions of bystanders is the kind of thing you'll only find on YouTube and in the inner circles of hell. At the time, most people sided with Sky, especially since during the divorce proceedings, Sky was given custody of Mason, solidifying his position that Alessa was the one in the wrong. Now, it's impossible to accurately tell to what extent each party contributed to the divorce, but one thing is certain, Sky was not the squeaky clean good guy he was widely thought to be when this was happening. In 2017, Sky quit gaming to focus on his music career, and as has been deduced by the people who were paying close attention to his online presence, entered into a relationship with a girl called Elizabeth. This, along with many of Sky's dark secrets he hid from his fanbase, was hinted at in KSI's diss track to him, Adam's Apple.
KSI did a diss track and featured the cheating wife. Whoa. Internet beef is wild.
Can't stress enough how much of a late 2010s internet moment this was. Sky's serious abuse allegations, which would eventually undo the rest of his career as an entertainer, were first mentioned in a KSI diss from 2017.
Dude, that is like peak YouTube.
Worst of all, people sided with Sky at the time because the information KSI was referencing was coming from Alessa, who everyone thought to be an untrustworthy cheater, slandering Sky to get Mason's custody back. And on top of that, I mean, it was a diss track after all. It was only at the beginning of 2022 that more was disclosed when Elizabeth came forward and backed Alessa up. In the document shared by Elizabeth, she said, "You are a sick man. I spent months and months loving you with my whole entire being. I spent thousands of dollars just to come live with you. You made promises you didn't want to keep, but promises you made to manipulate my life so you could be in control. You use your fame, your name, and your platform to hide the disgusting and disgraceful things that you so claim not to do. You not only verbally abused and degraded me, the mother of your second child, you traumatized me and put me through things no one should ever have to experience. You hurt me for too long, and I'm tired of feeling afraid of you and what speaking up may bring. I had to tell people you weren't abusive, because whenever I said you were, you would harass me and say horrible, horrible things. You were so unkind. I do not wish for..."
Jesus Christ. Whenever she would say that he's abusive, he would turn around and harass her and say horrible, horrible things, as if that's gonna prove that you're not abusive. In order to counteract the abuse with abuse, it's like two negatives times together make a positive. Okay, two wrongs are not making a right here.
For anybody to have mental health struggles, nor do I wish for somebody, even you, to have such severe struggles. I wanted nothing but to love you and help you heal. You informed me you were only bipolar and possibly on the spectrum, which was never a problem for me. That was not the case. What you hid from me is the dangerous man you were capable of being, the person you are overall. 95% of our relationship, you hid me. You refused to want people to know my name or know about me at all. You avoided it at all costs, saying it was to protect the relationship. You refused to even let me talk about the baby publicly, as if it was irrelevant and you didn't care. But
okay, sounds pretty bad. Yeah, looking pretty bad. I guess the only thing you could take from this, maybe that is like not so bad, is if you don't want a family member, like if you have a kid and you don't want it to be public, like sure, okay, maybe that's like, all right, but the rest of it sounds pretty bad.
But that's just the tip of the iceberg. According to Elizabeth, he consistently pressured her into pregnancy, despite her saying she wasn't ready for a baby. However, when she did get pregnant, Sky seemed unfazed and did next to nothing to help out, effectively being an absent father before the baby was even born. Additionally,
man.
the cheating accusations he levied at Alessa started looking like projection, since Elizabeth described him as being very shifty with his online messaging, using multiple different apps and deleting and hiding messages to prevent her from seeing what he was doing on his phone all the time. Another red flag about his infidelity was that he repeatedly tried to convince Elizabeth to open their relationship into polyamory. Of course, this was because he was already cheating on her.
Yeah, listen, okay, right. You're trying to come and be like, no, we should open a relationship, we should totally do it. Dude, it'd be so pog. A lot of the times it's because they're already doing it. They're already doing it on the side and they just want permission. In fact, maybe they just want to ask for forgiveness afterwards. They're like, oh yeah, we open the relationship? Great. I have a girlfriend. I'm gonna go out for pizza with them. No, you can't get mad. We open the relationship, you can't get mad. You said it's okay. I'm gonna go hang out with my cool girlfriend now that's really hot. We're gonna get pizza. It's gonna be great.
What made this habit of Sky's was that he never asked for the ages of the girls he engaged in conversation with and even sent nudes to. Honestly,
what? Bro, you didn't ask for the age of someone you sent nudes to? That seems like a bad decision.
I'm playing the sheer volume of insanity in these accusations.
Thank you, Yellow Hat, for the 1 Aussie buck. This is a crazy... Just look at all these messages. I miss your skin. I'm sorry, sad face. Please get help. Oh my god.
With the worst of which being making multiple death threats to and physically hurting Elizabeth by elbowing her in the stomach, and stealing money from companies to buy drugs, which Elizabeth had to pay back out of her own pocket. He also had the habit of randomly spamming and harassing people online late at night during one of his psychotic drug binges, and purposely clogging the toilet so that Elizabeth would have to go to a nearby gas station in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom. Now that one is just freaking epic. Eventually, the police became involved and helped Elizabeth out of her unfortunate situation.
That's the most creative type of abuse I've ever heard.
But not before she began to self-harm as a consequence of Sky's abuse. A lot of this, if not all of it, was happening while Elizabeth was pregnant, aggravating it to another level. After Elizabeth came out with her story, many other people felt emboldened to do the same and revealed their experiences working for Sky, all gruesome in their own way. Everything he had built in years of being a content creator, he lost in just a couple of years of not just recklessness, but an outright penchant for destroying himself and everyone around him in the most vicious way possible. He never addressed any of these claims besides the odd cryptic tweet where he suggested he would do something to hurt himself to get people's sympathy. His fan base, which used to be exceptionally loyal, became desolate at the thought of the person he turned out to be. Whoever Sky was before he was a rich web celebrity was long gone, and his original fan base has no interest in holding out for his return.
Yeah, his original fan base kind of fell off when he started doing music, and he tried to do music, and he wasn't very good at doing music, and he got dunked on by KSI in a diss track. He tried to fire back with another diss track that didn't do very well, and that kind of flopped, and then he was out for being a piece of shit. And then he tried to sell his YouTube accounts with 10 million subscribers. He listed his YouTube account for sale with 11.2 million subscribers that he wanted to sell for, I'm not exactly sure how much he wanted to sell it for, but that's absolutely mad. Oh, for $900,000, according to this article, he tried to sell his YouTube account, which is insane. If you buy a YouTube account with $900,000 with 11 million subscribers and you upload a video and it's not what the people originally subscribed for, do you think they're going to be happy? Do you think you're going to get a good response? What a completely pointless thing to buy a YouTube account. It's the worst thing that you could do. Just make your own YouTube account. If you're a brand, just make a YouTube account. Make a McDonald's YouTube account. You just buy someone else's YouTube account.
Noah Antweiler, widely known by his online moniker Spoonie, emerged as a prominent internet personality renowned for his video game reviews, let's plays, and comedic commentary. During his run as an active content creator, he fell into the same category as Old JonTron, angry video game nerd, and nostalgia critic. It's understated how effective this format used to be, but media criticism interspersed with in-character skits during the late 2000s and early 2010s is what Twitch streamers reacting to videos and not saying anything is to modern day. But even
I hate it when people react to videos and not say anything. That's awful. I would never. Some say I say too many things.
From the beginning, there were signs that Spoonie was unfit for the degree of attention he was attracting. In 2010, he faced his first bout of criticism for his behavior at gaming conventions, namely E3. During a panel with Angry Joe, he started going off on a game called The Bureau, XCOM Declassified, for being too great a departure from the series' original format, yelling out betrayal repeatedly as he ranted. Given this was a very mild...
Okay, well, you're being kind of annoying, though. There's something to be said for being annoying online, but there's something completely different to be said for being annoying in person. Being annoying in person is a way bigger offense. If you being annoying in person, the cringe is increased by at least 10 times. People are gonna hold that against you. Poor Angry Joe had no idea what was coming to him. All he wants to do is make angry reviews.
Child offense, but people picked up on his lack of self-awareness and how childish he tended to sound, almost as if he thought he was in character in one of his video sketches. This was just one of many instances where his contemporaries frowned upon his attitude, ultimately leading him to become a persona non grata in gaming convention circles.
Yeah, a lot of people can't act like a normal human being in person. When you make YouTube videos, some people put on a character, they do an exaggerated version of themselves. Like myself, I'm personally a lot more, I would say, reserved in real life. I try to be very social and outgoing when I'm at conventions because I know that people might want to meet me for whatever reason. I don't know why, but I also want to meet my friends. I want to be social and outgoing for the whole time because, you know, I don't get to do that thing very often. But a lot of people play characters. A lot of people play exaggerated versions of themselves. But a lot of people will still be the exact same person that they are online. And sometimes the exact same person that you are online, which gets you so much fame in the first place, is being a little bit of an arsehole. So if you're a little bit of an arsehole in person, that comes off as a lot of an arsehole.
On the 11th of May 2012, Spoonie tweeted the following at a fellow member of Channel Awesome. You know, if things don't work out with you and at Nash076, I'd be happy to chain you to a pipe in my basement and love you. My way. My way of loving someone is dirty and painful and ends in tears.
Oh, wow, I'm glad he clarified
As you
that.
can probably imagine, it didn't take very long for this tweet to get him in hot water. Though he did eventually apologize profusely for the tweet, his absolute tone deafness was noticed and considered a major liability for other people who were associating with him professionally. An example is when another member of Channel Awesome, Lord Cat, claims to have lost an interview with Minecraft creator Notch because of Channel Awesome's depreciated reputation as a result of Noah's online behavior.
Yeah, it's gonna happen.
Gaming industry turned its back on me. Not you, not Joe, not Blistered Thumbs, me. I went to GDC the following year, Spoonie, and I had a chance to interview Notch, Mojang, specifications, Minecraft. He was hot then. That was going to be huge for This Week in Games. That was going to be huge for the stream. It was going to be amazing. And you know what happened? The representative at Mojang caught wind that we were going to interview Notch. And he stepped in. And he said, oh, I've heard of you. You're with that guy with the glasses. You're with Blistered Thumbs. I tried to tell them, no, I'm not. But he said my name was associated with them. And he heard what you did. Making a fucking jackass of yourself at E3. You fucking moron.
As a punitive measure.
Oh man, he is mad. I mean, I'd be mad as well. The peak of Minecraft fame, at the peak of Notch fame. I mean, no one wants an interview with Notch now. He's kind of fell off the face of the earth. He's like a billionaire or whatever, and he just posts cringe tweets all day. Notch and Elon Musk is a case study in being a billionaire does not make you happy, and being a billionaire does not stop you from consistently posting cringe on Twitter.
He was first suspended from posting to Channel Awesome for a month, and later on, let go of the network altogether. Instead of taking this as a note to be more careful about what he said and did, he took the opportunity to completely on Channel Awesome, saying
of course,
the site was poorly designed, and he left because he didn't need them anymore and could do better on his own.
If you are taken out of a group channel because of your own actions, make sure to double down, because you're not the problem. Everybody else is the problem.
I guess the first thing I would talk about is there's kind of a financial aspect to this, and in many ways I just didn't need Channel Awesome anymore, in the sense that it was a really one-sided relationship, but also on another respect, their website is so poorly designed. It really is
yeah, that's true.
My videos are so buried beneath a nest of, you know, layered, rooted menus that...
And, you know, your videos are so good. So they need to be the top of the channel, man. They need to be shown to everyone.
I wanted to find my stuff. I think I'm under, like, Blistered Thumbs, Side Critics, and, like... I'm so far buried, you can't see what I'm doing, and I'm one of the more popular guys on that side, or I was.
Even if this were true to any extent, that's obviously not how you handle a situation, and what is essentially the closest thing you have to an actual career. In the same breath that he epically owned Channel Awesome, he admitted to not actually being sorry for the tweet that got him in trouble in the first place. This marked him as permanently unpredictable and prone to making bad decisions without considering the consequences. Quickly, this was associated with Spoonie's status in real life. He was an unemployed guy in his late 20s who admitted to having multiple psychological problems. Another sign that he wasn't dealing well with being an online entertainer was the frequency with which he engaged with negative feedback, as well as how he engaged with it, often banning people from his website if they dared to say something mean about his videos. Sure, it's his right to moderate his website however he wants, but a surefire way to tell someone is a narcissist is if they obsessively keep track of every single thing people say about them.
Yeah, I mean, listen. That's a very good way to tell if someone's a narcissist, because I read all of my comments, and I'm definitely a narcissist.
And try to silence criticism. Of course, the more he complained and interacted with the people saying...
Listen, the best way to interact with criticism is to either ignore it Or if it becomes too much, if it becomes spammy, then you can ban it. Sure, it's becoming spam. It's becoming a little bit of annoying. Or to just, you know, kill them with kindness. If someone says, hey, you suck, I hate you, I hope that you go dig a hole and you sit in that hole, and I hope that all of your families dig a hole and sit in the hole and they don't get out of the hole, and you're like, oh, well, I love you too, buddy. I think that you should have a really good day. Maybe a day that is as pleasant as your comments.
Saying abjectly negative things about him, the more people would do that just to spite him since they knew it would always get a reaction. Such is the nature of the internet after all. But you can't expect a guy who held a contest in which the prize was an autographed picture of himself to be capable of dealing with trolls in a moderately mature fashion.
No way! What a contest, dude! I didn't get told about this. I didn't get to enter it. No, man! An autographed picture of him. Oh, that looks so good. I could put it like right here. Man, I'm so pissed that I wasn't able to get in that freaking. Is he doing another one soon? I really want to get it on that. That'd be awesome. It seems like this person's just a lolcow. And if you don't know what a lolcow is is essentially a person on the internet that is just made fun of as a sport. Like Darkside Phil, Wings of Redemption, Boogie2988, Chris Chan. Those kind of people. This is what he feels like he's fallen into right now.
You see, Spoonie wasn't content in being a content creator. He idealized himself as an actor and comedian, which eventually culminated in the solidification of the infamous Spoonie movie. Despite the bad rep he had accrued in his already sparse upload schedule screeching to a halt after his departure from Channel Awesome, he was still a known entity in gaming circles and held in some regard by other content creators. Despite his tunnel vision on the hate he got, many people still really liked him and his content. Proof of which is that within 6 months of opening his Patreon page, he had over 500 supporters and was making almost $5,000 a month. He was being paid that much to produce $0 budget videos of him yapping about any media he wanted. Let it sink in just how much of a blessed position that really is. Eventually, his Patreon reached his highest goal, $5,000, which would kick off the production of the Spoonie movie. At least that's what the rewards on the Patreon said. When he announced he would begin working on the film, it was clear that
Dude, $5,000 a month is not good enough to make any kind of movie. What kind of movie is this? Is this going to be a movie of you just sitting in a room being like, this is a really great movie. It's a really great piece of content. Now I'm going to go to the shop. Is the movie actually just a vlog of him? How are you going to fund a movie with $5,000? What are you going to do? Are you going to make the villain out of cardboard and paper mache?
That he had no idea what he was getting into.
Hey guys, bunch of big news lately. I haven't had a chance to report on it till now because I was out of state. But I guess the big news is somehow you guys have reached the Patreon goal where it was listed that I would start work on a movie.
He looks scared. He's saying this in a way that's, oh, I didn't think we'd get that far. Whoops. What am I gonna do? We hit the goal, guys. I guess I have to do it now. Oh no.
Blown away by this. You guys are the best fans in the world. Oh my God. It was just astonishing. Oh my God.
Yeah, no, he's straight up like, I haven't got a fucking clue how I'm supposed to do this.
But, that's part of what I wanted to talk to you about was the plan.
There is no plan, is there?
The status of things. The plan is.
As a consequence, his own fans began pointing it out. After all, they were paying because they liked the reviews, not because they wanted a movie. The decision to make a movie was much more about Spoonie's fantasy about being an actor than responding to any popular demand. Another common criticism levied at Spoonie was that, despite him making more money than he'd ever made before, the quality of the content was steadily decreasing. But these criticisms were often silenced as Spoonie disabled the comments and ratings on any video.
Don't ever disable comments on a video, especially ratings. That immediately turns people off watching a video. If I go into a video and I see the comments are turned off and the ratings are turned off, I'm gone. There's no way to engage with it.
They showed up on. This behavior, paired with a straight-up non-existent upload schedule, sapped the momentum he had built up on his
non-existent upload schedule. How do you have a non-existent upload schedule if you literally just sit and talk to a camera all day? Listen. I make reaction videos. I understand these videos are easy as fuck to make. This is my try less channel. I really appreciate that a lot of people give me permission to react to videos and I'm able to do this and I'm able to upload them and I'm able to monetize it. I understand how easy this is. I will never, for any points, act like this channel is hard to make videos for. It is not. It is very, very easy. I enjoy doing it because I enjoy doing stuff that's a little bit more laid back and stuff that's a lot more easy to make. I will never say that making this reaction video is difficult or that I need to take a long break from it unless I just don't want to do this type of video anymore. How do you sit there and have a non-existent upload schedule where you just sit and talk to a camera? Did you run out of words to say? Did your voice box turn off? You're getting $5,000 a month to make this kind of stuff. That's incredibly fortunate. You would ride that train, and you should ride that train until the end of days. That's what Asmongold does. It's super easy. Making these types of videos is so much easier than making the original video. Turkey Tom spent a lot more time making this video than I will making a reaction. All I have to do is some zooms in on my face and maybe see a funny thing every now and then. Did I say a funny thing yet in this video? I might have to still hit the quota.
His Patreon, and within a year, he was getting $2,500, only half of what he was making before. He became increasingly inactive on all fronts, except Twitter, which he frequently updated with his usual ranting and raving. His hyperactivity on the platform reached critical mass with the election cycle, after which he spent 6 months without uploading any content, while his Patreon plummeted to just $600. In July,
maybe he just moved on to other things. Maybe he wasn't being lazy, maybe he just found passion in other things and he got another job.
He made a series of tweets saying, "Having a panic attack. I have so many things to do, so many #1 priorities. All I can think to do is hide in bed. Every time I do, I'm afraid that for some reason this time I just won't wake up.
Oh, okay. On a more human level, I can totally understand that. I totally understand the perspective of I haven't been able to record for a long time, and now opening OBS and opening my recording software and just sitting down to do something feels like such an insurmountable task because I haven't done it in so long. I feel like I have to come back and it has to be better than ever, and I feel like I have to be better, but I haven't done it and I've disappointed people for so long. So you just are paralyzed. You're completely paralyzed, unable to do anything at that point. And I feel like a lot of people feel that kind of way. So I'm not going to make fun of him in this situation unless he says something really dumb from this point on, because I can totally understand how you get yourself in that position. I know people that have been in that position. I've been in that position where you feel like you're falling off and you feel like you need to do something, but you don't know what to do. So instead of jumping into action and making something and coming back, you feel paralyzed and unable to do anything.
Just can't face the goddamn camera for some reason. I've been down here for months trying to get my head straight, and I can't. Financially,
I get it.
This became an emergency 6 months ago, so I haven't been lacking for motivation. No idea what I'm going to do. I haven't given up. I never gave up, but I haven't gotten anywhere either." Replying to someone, he claimed that he was out of money and was going to lose his house. While this cannot be verified, it would make sense considering he showed no signs of being employed in any other way besides his Patreon, which he continued to update for the rest of 2017. It's not even necessary to say that the movie never materialized, despite being used as an excuse for the lack of regular Spoonie content. Even his most arduous fans were struggling with still supporting him at this point.
And I totally understand that as well. That makes complete sense. You don't have to support any YouTuber. I keep it in my mind every time I go live and every time I make a stream and every time I think about streaming. I just keep it in my mind, this sentence of streamers deserve nothing, which means not that, you know, be mean to streamers or anything like that, because sometimes, it's hard to do content creation depending on what you do. I find it hard to do content creation on my main channel because I try a lot harder on those videos. It's a lot harder to make that kind of video. But no streamer and no content creator inherently deserves anything, especially money or your time. That is something that we have to earn. I completely understand that. Every membership, every donation is more than what you should expect. You should never expect to go live and be given money, because this is just a viewer. It's someone just logging on and you're supposed to entertain them. You're supposed to give them something in exchange for their time. And if they want to add something a little bit on top of that, they want to juice you a little, they want to sprinkle some cinnamon on top of your oatmeal, then that's up to them. You can't go live and be like, I want to get 500 members today or $500, because while it would be nice to, there's no consistent way to do that. You don't know if people are going to be nice to you that day or not, and you don't know if people even financially can afford to do that, because at the end of the day, it's just free content online. It's accessible for free, and you shouldn't expect anything.
Spoonie was now in his late 30s, and his mental issues were getting the best of him. He was suspended from Twitter for suggesting he would kill himself and take others with him, though his account has since been reinstated.
Jesus Christ. Okay, that's dumb.
His house, his girlfriend left him, and just recently, his dog Oreo passed away. Though since 2022, there have been things that suggest Noah might eventually make a comeback and do reviews, his story stands out as one of the most tragic meltdowns of a content creator.
Yeah, man, that was just like a sad slide into oblivion there. Not nice at all. But Sweet Banana, I appreciate. Thank you for the cinnamon on the oatmeal. I will have some delicious, delicious cinnamon. Thank you very much.
During the mid-2010s, when edgy content wasn't only surviving, but thriving on every online platform, Ian Washburn, or iDubbbz, emerged as a prominent figure, and in a way, the de facto leader of this era and genre of content. After years,
the pivot in iDubbbz has been insane.
Doing episodes on his series Kickstarter crap, wherein he reviewed poorly put together or outright deceptive Kickstarter projects, Ian developed two things: a small but respectable fan base and a very articulate capacity for criticism. He turned his fan base into content by doing bad unboxing, which often ended in him being buried underneath sex toys and copies of Mein Kampf. With his critical sense, he made Content Cop, a series hailed for its unrelenting and brutal takedowns of other YouTube personalities that iDubbbz disapproved of. What stood out?
Yeah, man, I don't know. Whenever a new Content Cop dropped, I'd be like, clear the schedule, baby. It's Content Cop time. It's time to go in. Because usually he would do Content Cops on people that deserved it. Like Keemstar, Leafy, like people that deserve to be dunked on.
No holds barred attitude towards what he was willing to do in order to affect.
The problem was what he'd say in the videos sometimes, and the words that you would use in the videos sometimes. That was not good.
Prove a point. From attending Tana Mojo's event only to.
This was bad. I don't know what he was thinking with this one. This was insane. In a time where it was more acceptable, but my God, I don't know how you could go up to someone. For those of you who don't know, he went up to Tana Mojo in real life and said, while getting a picture with her, he said, say the N-word. He didn't say the N-word. He said it. He said the N-word with a hard R. I'm like, I don't know what you were thinking in this one. This was the stupidest thing you could have done.
Tell her to say the gamer word when they were taking a selfie, to shaving only the front of his head to demonstrate he wasn't insecure about his hairline on the Leafy is Here content deputy. He seemed invincible, immune to the hang-ups that would make pretty much any other person crawl into a fetal position and cry. On a platform where drama videos abound into endless back and forth with no clear winner, it was a sight for sore eyes when a new Content Cop appeared in the recommended, since with those, you always knew you would get what you subscribed for. But besides his own content, he also made illustrious appearances in other people's channels, most notably the notorious Cake trilogy from Filthy Frank. You really cannot understate how monumental these videos were during this era. It's a you had to be there kind of thing. But with peaks so high, how could he ever follow it up? That's the question iDubbbz.
Yeah, the Filthy Frank, Max Mofo, iDubbbz videos coming together. It was like assembling the Triforce in the Zelda game.
I've been trying to answer for years. While Kickstarter crap and Content Cop were discontinued entirely, the bad unboxing series lingered on for a while, though it took on increasingly strange formats. Besides the odd episode of iDubbbz Complains and the videos where he saved squirrels on his second channel, it seemed like he was genuinely at a loss as to what direction he would go with his content. Consequently, the uploads were far apart, and when they did come, they seemed underwhelming. But in 2019, Ian struck gold once again with his documentary on Airsoft Fatty, Full Force. Though it did numbers, it didn't have the cultural impact his past works had. While
I mean, it was pretty big. When this dropped, this is a pretty big thing. It's not like Shane Dawson documentary level before he got, blasted off the internet again. But I remember watching this and I was like, damn, this is like pretty interesting. It's pretty cool. I like this. It was a good video.
Most of the feedback was largely positive. An undercurrent of iDubbbz fans began wondering where the edge he had went. Why did these new uploads feel oddly lukewarm? Eventually, this weird vibe some of his fans were getting from the content was made manifest when iDubbbz's then girlfriend, Anissa, started an OnlyFans account. Many people felt that Ian's tolerance of this greatly betrayed his critical character. Though he'd never given his opinion on that specific topic, people presumed he wouldn't be the kind of guy who was okay with his girlfriend exposing herself in that way.
Yeah, it's weird that people just assume that, oh, no, you have to have this opinion because this is what I think you have. This is the opinion that I believe that you have, therefore you have to have it. What? You don't have this opinion? Well, now I'm upset. Now I'm molding. And that just snowballed into him having basically a war with his older fan base.
While Ian harped on how ridiculous it was that people felt a parasocial connection to him and even looked up to him, his demeanor felt distinctly different, like he was more emotionally aggravated about this topic than he'd ever been about almost anything he covered on his channel.
Probably because it had a personal connection to him. Like, it's actually his girlfriend, now wife.
The conclusion drawn from this debacle was that the rift between Ian and his fan base was always there, and the conflict surrounding Anissa's OnlyFans just revealed it. Other people speculated that Anissa was affecting his opinions and softening his stance. Some even argued that Anissa's OnlyFans was a sign of her issues with self-esteem, and that Ian's tolerance of it was effectively enabling her. Ultimately, the only certain
Okay, that is a weird armchair psychologist take to have. You opened an OnlyFans because you are insecure with yourself. And that's why you did it. And iDubbbz is enabling you, which makes him a bad person because he's enabling you to be insecure? What a weird take.
You can say about this controversy is that it marked a major shift in people's view of iDubbbz. A lot of people felt very alienated and tied it to the noticeably milder content he'd been putting out. After all, when someone spends over half a decade being the most offensive person imaginable, it's a very radical change in pace when he starts making videos complaining about the amount of peanuts that come in peanut products. His content
was
funny
though,
well, but it felt more like a regular YouTuber stuff as opposed to the headliner he once was.
I think this was a good way to try and get away from the edgy past that he had, because clearly he had his edgy past. He wanted to get away from it, and it didn't work in the same way that it worked with Filthy Frank and Joji, because Joji completely changed the kind of content he made. He stopped making videos entirely and pivoted entirely into music and said, I don't want to make this kind of content anymore. Where iDubbbz made very similar types of content, still made YouTube videos, just on more, I guess, less offensive topics. When he was trying to get away from his very edgy past, he didn't address it at first, which is generally the safer way to go, is just don't address it. Just move on to the things that you genuinely want to do. If you want to grow and improve, just do it. Don't say that you're going to do it, just do it. Then that kind of didn't work, and people were still calling him out. People were still like, oh, where's the edginess gone? Where's the content cop? And he was like, he felt like he needed to address it after that.
His personal views were once again the topic of discussion when at the end of 2020, he made a video lambasting anti-maskers. Regardless of what he thought on the matter, the fact that he would go out of his way to make a video about them was seen as a gratuitous virtue signal and perhaps a way to cut contrarian or right-wing viewers that he no longer wanted in his fan base out. A year later in 2020,
I mean, I just think that the people in that video are fucking idiots. And it's a very common YouTuber thing to make fun of people that do stupid things on the internet. There's a whole genre of YouTube videos and YouTube channels that just make videos making fun of dumb people. And if you watch that video that iDubbbz made, it was full of dumb people. Surprise, surprise. So I just think he was trying to pivot into, let's make fun of the dumb people, and just chose anti-mask because, you know, at the start of 2020, masking up was a very big topic at the time. Not so much anymore, but it just seems to fit the time.
2021, some of his public perception would be restored with the dawn of Creator Clash, a boxing event that came together as a consequence of his
Virtue signaling? It sounds like virtue signaling? No, I don't think so. I thought those people were dumb as fuck. If I was to make a video saying, I think that these people are dumb, would I be virtue signaling? No, I just think that they're idiots. What does virtue signaling even mean at that point if you're just gonna use it to downplay people being fucking morons?
Is yearning to fight Rice Gum, the final target of the Content Cop series. More importantly, Ian uploaded another documentary video, this time on comedian Sam Hyde. The video made waves since for years, no one with a significant mainstream presence interacted with Sam after the cancellation of his Adult Swim show World Peace due to political controversies. It also made people question just how loyal Ian was to his more progressive sensibilities, since he was essentially giving the time of day to someone who donated thousands of dollars to the Daily Stormer, an openly anti-Semitic and far-right website. Strangely, It seems Ian himself believed Sam's more offensive or risque jokes weren't ironic at all. The reception to the documentary was mixed. For some who were fans of both Sam and Ian, seeing them interact at all was amazing. Others picked up on how oddly passive-aggressive Ian behaved at times. Devout Sam fans felt it was a hit piece designed to show that he had fallen off. It also came off as strange that he decided to make some of his criticisms towards Sam's style of humor in post, instead of bringing most of it up directly to him while he shot the documentary.
Yeah, this documentary made no sense to me. I don't know what's going on. I don't really know much about Sam Hyde. I heard that he's like this very right-wing person. I don't know. He's like right-wing comedy and stuff like that, which, you know, right-wing comedy is not really a thing. I saw this come out. I didn't watch it. Then there was a ton of drama. Sam Hyde releases his own counter-documentary as like a gotcha, as if iDubbbz set the whole thing up so that he could dunk on Sam the entire time. And there was this big drama. It just seemed really confusing to me.
Ultimately, doing the doc on Sam was Ian's worst mistake. Not only did it immediately capture the attention of all the people he wanted to push away, but Sam himself was catapulted back into the internet's mainstream, while Sam himself wasn't allowed to—
Yeah, literally, I'd never heard of Sam Hyde until this. And now he's super popular. I don't know if they are entirely connected, but I feel like he would never have risen back to the prominence that he's in right now and the notoriety if iDubbbz never made that documentary on him. I have no idea who he was until this.
Fight at Creator Clash, he did train Harley Morenstein, one of the participants, who actually went on to win his fight. This became a complete nightmare once Creator Clash 2 rolled around. Froggy Fresh, another YouTuber slated to participate in the event, began associating with Sam Hyde. This, in addition to some remarks Ian considered offensive and unbecoming of the event's more brand-safe image, led him to drop Froggy from the event, which resulted in another controversy. People thought it was unfair that Froggy was dropped on such short notice after training for the fight. To make matters worse, Froggy was supposed to fight Chris Raygun, both of which are pretty short guys, and when Froggy was dropped, his replacement was significantly taller and with a much longer reach, resulting in a very visibly mismatched fight. Ian—
Oh no, man, come on, that's not fair. Poor Chris Raygun trains the entire time for a fight that should be evenly matched, and then he just gets dunked on by someone way taller than him. That's sad.
And Issa, who organized the event, caught a lot of flack for this, which was accelerated by Sam's active participation in insulting and joking about their professional and personal decisions. Finally, this culminated in iDubbbz posting a video called I Miss the Old iDubbbz, where he explicitly disavows his old videos and what he considers his own bigotry, and pledges to donate to progressive causes, such as—
See, I think this is what separates iDubbbz from the Filthy Frank situation, was Filthy Frank, when he pivoted, he says, listen, I really appreciate that people supported me, you know, nothing wrong with that. I just don't enjoy doing that kind of content anymore. I'm just gonna go do other stuff. But with iDubbbz, the situation was like, I think that these people are, first off, not good, and also a reflection of myself that I was when I was making this kind of stuff. So I also had some kind of self-hate. I think that it's great that he's trying to become a better person. I think it's great that he's not saying slurs anymore. That's fantastic. But the way that he framed this video was not very good in terms of bringing people that used to like his content on side. It felt more adversarial and more confrontational with those people. Like, I don't want anything to do with you. You're the bad people.
Such as the Trans Women of Color Collective.
If I'm gonna have the balls to go to Tana's fan meetup and say slurs at her and then make a video about how it's okay to say slurs, I think I should have the balls to make an apology video and take accountability for the mistakes I've made. That's what this video is. I am responsible for creating a lot of hurtful and damaging content on this channel, and I've also created a culture of apathy and, I don't know, a lot of like cruelty as well.
Once again, people felt betrayed since in this video, he implied—
Yeah, the worst thing iDubbbz did was the slurs. Such a dumb sentence. Oh my god. I think the content cop videos generally were kind of valid from what I remember. It's been a long time since I've seen them, so obviously I could be wrong here, but the content cop videos were going after people that were generally doing pretty bad things. I just keep remembering the ones against Keemstar and Leafy, both of which very, very bad people that did very, very harmful things and kind of deserve to be dunked on. Obviously, could have done without the slurs. That's really bad. You're trying to be a better person. You can move forward from that. That's great. Maybe not be so adversarial with the people that supported you in those moments as well.
Implies that the people he did content cops on didn't deserve it, or that it was in poor taste or too offensive, which was largely why people found him funny in the first place. Others felt that regardless of his change of heart and personal beliefs on what kind of humor crosses the line, the video was gratuitously self-flagellating for something that virtually no one held against him.
The way he talks about this—
Yeah, exactly. I don't think people were super mad at iDubbbz for what he did back in the day. But I can't speak for, obviously, like, people of color or anything like that. I can't speak for the people that were affected by slurs, so I'm very open to other people's thoughts on that. You know, I'm just a white British guy. What can I say about that?
His content makes it sound like he used to fucking murder puppies for these videos. It was never that extreme.
To say that it wasn't harmful is also not true, because he normalized the use of slurs, especially with a younger audience that would then go out and do it. So in part, he had some kind of effect on how people would use very harmful words. So to say that it's completely, oh no, no one cares, you didn't do anything that bad, taking some kind of responsibility for that is definitely important. Becoming better is definitely important. But then he made a second video, and it was like, okay, like, yeah, there's a little bit much at that point.
Very much would consider it edgy.
I think Charlie's response to, his first response to this was very uneducated from the point of view of, you know, he's a white guy that wouldn't be affected by the words that iDubbbz was encouraging people to use by spamming them in videos. How could he, from his perspective, from where he's sitting right now, know what kind of harm that did to other people? Because he wouldn't be affected by those words anyway.
It was 2016 edginess in all of its glory. And for its time, it lived peacefully. You know, all four nations, water, earth, fire, air, lived together in harmony with all this edginess going on. But I don't think it was a mistake that he made those videos. They're not hurtful, nor do I really think they're damaging.
Yeah, it's that part. How you can't really say that they're not hurtful or damaging because you aren't the kind of person that it would be hurtful and damaging to. It's up to the people that would be harmed by the words that he would spam all the time, constantly, and say that it was okay to say in those videos, right?
There's been no significant criticism of content cops and their level of edginess since they came out, other than from
another amazing video by Turkey Tom, whose channel you should absolutely subscribe to. Fantastic video. And if you have something you want me to react to, let me know in the Discord server. See you later.